All right, welcome back to The Explainer for the grand finale of our series on English comparisons. We've laid the groundwork, but now it's time to get into the details that'll make you sound like you've been speaking English your whole life.
So, you've stuck with us this far. The real question is, are you ready for the final challenge? Are you ready to go from just being good at this stuff to being the absolute best? Yeah? I thought so. Let's do this.
Okay, but before we dive into the really tricky stuff, let's do a super quick, lightning-fast review. Think of it like a warm-up lap before the big race. You gotta have this foundation down cold.
You remember the two main rules, right? For short words, one syllable, like fast, you just tack on an boom, faster. But for the longer words, like expensive, you just pop more in front of it. Super simple. Faster, taller, stronger, more expensive, more beautiful, more intelligent. You got it? Awesome. Let's move on.
All right, now for the main event. It's time to meet the rebels, the rule breakers. Seriously, mastering these few words is what unlocks that next level of fluency. This is the good stuff.
And here's the crazy part. It's not like these are some weird, obscure words you'll never use. Nope. The words that break all the rules are some of the most common ones you use every single day. Getting these right, that's what really separates the good English speakers from the great ones. Okay, here they are, the big three, the irregulars. And look, there's no secret trick here, no more. You just have to memorize them. It's good, better, the best. Bad, worse, the worst. And far becomes further or farther. These are your non-negotiables. You just got to know them.
And listen, if you take one thing away, let it be this. Please, please, please burn this into your brain. Gooder is not a word. Badder is not a word. I'm telling you, these are the most common mistakes people make, and if you can avoid them, your English will instantly sound so much better.
All right, enough theory. The best way to really learn this stuff is to see it in action. So, let's play a little game I like to call the bragging game. Let's see how our two friends, Anna and Lukas, do.
So Lukas kicks things off. He's bragging just a little. He says, "My house is big." Okay, pretty simple. It's a standard short adjective. Now, how can Anna one-up him?
And look at this, a perfect example. Anna comes right back with the comparative bigger. She's directly comparing her house to his, but she doesn't stop there. She goes for the knockout punch with the superlative, the biggest house in the entire city. Game on.
Okay, round two. Lukas tries again. This time he uses a long adjective. Expensive. He thinks he's got her now, setting up a different kind of challenge.
But no, Anna knows the rules inside and out. She doesn't say expensiver, right? She uses more expensive for the comparison, and then goes for the ultimate brag with the most expensive car in the world. She's not just beating Lukas anymore, she's beating everybody.
All right, here we go. The real test. Lukas throws out one of our rule breakers. I am a good podcaster. Now, how does Anna handle this? We know she can't say gooder.
And boom, perfect. She nails it. She uses the correct irregular form, better. She is a better podcaster than him. And then, just to rub it in, she claims the top spot. I am the best. This is exactly how you use these in a real conversation. Okay, last round. You can tell Lukas is feeling a little defeated here, so he switches it up. He's not bragging anymore, he's complaining. Well, my headache is bad.
And here comes the punchline. Anna uses the correct irregular form for bad, which is worse, and hits him with a great little zinger. My headache is worse because I am listening to you. See? It's a perfect way to use this grammar to add some personality, a little humor.
So what did we learn from watching Anna absolutely dominate the bragging game? Well, it shows that knowing the rules, and especially the exceptions, gives you real power in a conversation. So now, let's get you an action plan so you can be just as confident.
It's super simple, just 3 steps to mastery. First, you've got to memorize those irregulars, good, bad, and far. Just drill them, say them out loud. Second, practice bragging. For real, try it with a friend. If they say, "I'm tired," you come back with, "I'm more tired." It's kind of silly, but it works. And finally, be a detective. When you're watching movies or listening to songs, try to spot these words. You'll start hearing them everywhere, I promise.
And that's it. That brings us to the end of our series. You have all the tools now. You know the main rules, you know the tricky exceptions, and you have a plan. So I'm going to leave you with one final question to think about. With your new and improved English, What will you be the best at?
All right, welcome back. So last time we went over the basic rules, but today we're throwing the textbook out the window. This is the masterclass. It's all about putting this stuff into practice.
So, you ready? Let's throw you right into the deep end and see how these rules actually work in the real world. This is where it gets fun.
Okay, before we get to the new stuff, let's do a super quick systems check. Just a rapid-fire refresher on what we already know. Don't blink, because we're going to go fast.
Boom, here it is, the whole system in one neat package. Remember this? Short words, one syllable? Just tack on or the-est. Think fast, faster, the fastest, easy. Longer words, 2 or more syllables, we use more or the most. This is our home base, the foundation for everything that's coming next.
And please remember this one. This is the #1 trap that trips up everybody, even really advanced speakers. When you're comparing, it's always then with an A. Then with an E, that's about time, like I'll do this, then I'll do that. If you nail this one detail, you're already way ahead of the curve. All right, systems check complete. Now for the fun part. Let's see how this stuff plays out in a real-world scenario. We're going to follow a little competition between 2 rivals, Lukas and Anna. Let's break down their language as they go head-to-head.
So first up, we've got the running event. And Lukas, who's not short on confidence, makes a pretty bold claim. He's not just saying, hey, I'm fast. No, he's comparing himself to the wind itself. And look at how he does it. Fast. That's a short one-syllable word, right? So to make that comparison to the wind, he just adds Boom. Faster. A textbook perfect use of that first rule.
But okay, next up is the thinking event. Lukas has had his say, but now it's Anna's turn to shine. And check this out. The way she's described isn't just about her versus Lukas. No, this is about her versus everybody else in the game.
And this is such a perfect example of our rule for those longer words. Intelligent. That's what, 4 syllables? So to say she's at the very top, #1 out of all the players, we have to use the most intelligent. That, my friends, is a superlative in action.
Okay, last event, eating. Lukas is determined to be #1 at something. So he doesn't just say his appetite is bigger than Anna's. No, he goes all in. He claims his is the top appetite, period. So he's using another superlative here. Big is a nice short word, so it turns into the biggest. And hey, quick pro tip here. Notice that double G. It's a tiny spelling detail, but it's what makes your writing look polished and professional.
All right, so you're feeling good, you think you've got the system down, and then English throws you a curveball. Meet the rule breakers. These are super common words that just don't follow the rules. And for these, yeah, you just got to memorize them.
And here they are, the big 3, good, bad, and far. Look at how they change. Good, better, the best. Bad, worse, the worst. See? No or most anywhere. These words they transform into something completely new.
And listen up, because this is what separates the amateurs from the pros. You never say gooder or badder. Seriously, it's one of the biggest red flags. Avoiding this little mistake is how you go from sounding like a novice to sounding like a master.
Okay, you've seen the rules, you've seen the examples, you've seen the exceptions. Time to put it all together for the final boss battle. We're going to watch Lukas and Anna play something I call the bragging game. The rules are simple. One person makes a statement, and the other has to one-up them.
Just watch how this escalates. Lukas starts simple. My house is big. But Anna comes right back with the comparative. My house is bigger. And then she goes for the knockout punch with the superlative. In fact, it is the biggest house in the city. That is a classic textbook move.
And here we go again, but this time with a long word. Lukas says, my car is expensive. Anna fires back with, more expensive. And then, to really seal the deal, the most expensive. It's the exact same strategy, she's just swapping in the rule for long words. Now watch this. They're bringing in one of our rule breakers. Lukas says, I am a good podcaster. Anna knows she can't say gooder, right? So she uses the correct irregular form, better, and then goes for the ultimate brag, I am the best.
And the game ends with this final killer move. Lukas tries to complain, well, my headache is bad. But Anna immediately one-ups him with the irregular form, worse, and then just delivers the final blow with that little zinger at the end.
So, yeah, that's game over. A totally clear and really clever win for Anna. You see what she did? She didn't just use the grammar right, She used it as a weapon to win the whole conversation.
So, there you have it. You've seen the whole masterclass. You now have all the tools, the rules, the sneaky exceptions, even the strategy to compare anything like an absolute pro. The only question left is, what's your best brag? Go on, give it a shot. You know, in English, how do we really decide what's best? Whether we're talking about the fastest runner or, I don't know, the best pizza, it all comes down to one really important skill, the art of comparison. Today, we're going to break down exactly how that works.
Let's start with a simple idea we all get: competition. I mean, think about it. Sports, video games, even just a friendly argument, we're always trying to figure out who or what comes out on top.
So when you boil it right down, competition is just a fancy way to compare things. We're comparing skills, speed, strength, whatever, all just to answer that one big question: who is number one?
So here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with why we even bothered to compare. Then we'll get into the two main types, and after that, I'll give you the actual grammar tools to do it yourself. And definitely stick around, because we'll wrap up with a little preview of the tricky exceptions we'll tackle next time.
Okay, first up, why is this so important? I mean, why is comparing things such a basic part of how we talk and think? It turns out it's about a lot more than just winning and losing.
We're comparing stuff all the time, probably without even noticing. We use it to explain why we bought one phone instead of another, or to tell someone why we like this coffee shop more than that one. And yeah, let's be honest, sometimes we use it to brag a little. It's totally fundamental to how we share what we think and feel.
Now, this is the most important idea for today. English basically splits all comparisons into just two types. Seriously, once you get this one difference, all the grammar rules suddenly make a lot more sense.
So here's the bottom line. Are you looking at just two things, head to head, A versus B? Or are you taking one thing and putting it up against the entire group to see if it's the absolute best, the most extreme? It's either one versus one or one versus all. That's it.
So let's build our first tool. This is called the comparative form, and it's what we use for that A versus B situation, when we're pointing out the difference between just two things. Okay, rule number one is super simple. For short, snappy words that have just one beat or one syllable, words like fast, tall, or big, you just tack right onto the end. Easy.
And here it is in action. We take the word tall, we add er, and bam, we've got a direct comparison. Now notice, we're not saying Anna is the tallest person on the planet. We're just saying that in this specific matchup between these two people, she's the one who is taller.
Okay, but what about longer words? Words with two or more beats, like beautiful or expensive. If you try to add to them, it just sounds kind of clunky, right? So English has this really elegant little trick. We just leave the word alone and pop the word more right in front of it. See how smooth that sounds? We would never, ever say beautifuler. It just feels wrong. Instead, more beautiful gets the job done perfectly. This little rule is all about keeping the language sounding natural.
All right, pay attention here, because this is a really, really common mistake. When you're comparing, you have to use the word than, T-H-A-N. It's so easy to mix up with then, T-H-E-N, which is about time. Just remember this little trick. The A in then is for comparison. Okay, tool number one is in the bag. We know how to compare two things. Now let's grab our second tool. This is for when we want to go big. This is for finding the absolute extreme in a group, the one that's at the very top of the list.
So, just like before, short words get their own special ending. But this time, for finding number one, the ending is est. And here's the other key part. You almost always put the word the right before it. The fastest, the tallest, the biggest.
Now this sentence is doing something different. It's not just comparing Lukas to one other guy. It's comparing him to all the other runners in that group. It means out of everybody, nobody beats him. He's at the very top. He is number one.
And I bet you can guess what's coming next, right? The pattern holds. For those longer words, we don't change them. We just put the most right in front. So we used more for comparing to, and now we use the most for finding the number one.
This is just a perfect example of what we're talking about. We're not comparing this car to the one next to it. We're saying that if you look at every single car in the entire world, this one costs more than all of them. It's the absolute top of the price scale.
Okay, so we've got our two sets of rules. We have and more for comparing two things, and we have the est and the most for finding number one.
Seems pretty simple, right? Well, language always has to have a few rebels in the mix.
Let's just pause here for a second and really think about this. If you follow the rules we just learned, you might say that one thing is gooder than another, or maybe that something is the goodest. But does that actually sound right to you? Have you ever heard a native speaker say that? Probably not.
And there's a reason for that. Some of the most common, everyday words we use, like good and bad, they're special. They are total rule breakers. They have their own unique forms that you just have to memorize them.
And those quirky exceptions are exactly what we're going to dive into in our next explainer. We'll give you the tools you need to handle these really important, irregular words so you can totally master the art of comparison. I'll see you then.